Good evening, ladies. On behalf of the American Legion Auxilary and the entire staff of Rhododendron Girls State, we welcome you to our 75th session. If you would please stand for the advancement of our collars. Please join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we will have prayer led by Senior Counselor Whitney Ramey.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you today to give thanks for our many blessings, but most importantly, to thank you for bringing us all here safely to participate in Rhododendron Girls State. Let us also give thanks for our freedoms and our veterans, those who have served and are currently serving. We thank you, Lord, that we are all gathered here today and for this week, and we pray that we will always put you first and let your will be done. We pray that you protect us from sickness and harm. We pray that you guide us through this week, fill us with your spirit, and lead us to see your perspective, Lord. Let our lights always shine for you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And now we will be led in our Star Spangled Banner by our course director, Ashley Parrish, and assistant, Jenna Mahan.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, and you may be seated. It's a little warm in here. It's really hot up here. So I want to congratulate each of you on being selected to attend the 75th session of Rhododendron Girls State. And for those of you who may not know, Girls State is sponsored by the American Legion Auxilary, the world's largest women's patriotic service organization in the world. And every state has a Girls State program. And our mission as auxiliary members is to support the American Legion and to honor the sacrifices of those who serve by enhancing the lives of our veterans and our military and their families, both home and abroad. Our Girl State program epitomizes the American Legion's mission to honor those who have brought us our freedom through our enduring commitment to develop young women like you as future leaders of tomorrow who are grounded in both patriotism and Americanism. Girl State is one of the most respected and coveted experiential learning programs of government and leadership in the United States. And for that, you should be proud to be part of our program this year. Because you guys are only one of 20,000 girls each year that have this opportunity. Girl State girls go on to bigger and better things. We have a Miss USA, we have congresswomen, we have a brigadier general, famous newscasters. It's unbelievable what Girl State programs do for women. Because we are so veteran-focused with the American Legion and American Legion Auxilary, our special project this year is the Helping Heroes organization that's here in Moundsville with a satellite office here in Wheeling. You will learn more about the Helping Heroes organization in your communities, and we are also honoring a special female veteran that is part of the Helping organization later in the week. Our theme this year is Leave a Little Sparkle Wherever You Go, hence the sparkly ladies on the stage and the sparkly gentlemen on the stage. And I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we would all agree that at this point in time, our world could use more sparkly people. And one of the best ways that you can sparkle this week is to believe in yourself and exuberate confidence. Laughter, ladies, is very contagious, and a smile can go a long way to spread your sparkle onto someone else. And I promise you, if you are willing to spread your sparkle this week, that you're going to do great things, you're going to make wonderful memories, and you're going to build lasting friendships. Right now, you might be sitting in your seat thinking, what am I doing here? But I guarantee you, by the time we get to Friendship Circle on Thursday night, you're going to be crying tears because you do not want to go home and leave all the good friends that you've made this week. Girls, this week can truly be a life-changing experience if you're open to the challenge and you just get out there and don't be afraid. But now I want to introduce you to someone who cannot wait to spread her sparkle this week and help each of you spread your sparkle. And she is our 2016 Rhododendron Girl State Governor, Miss Mariah Daffron. Mariah is a recent graduate of Jefferson High School in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. This fall, Mariah is heading to Daytona Beach, Florida, with a full-ride scholarship to attend Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and it is the largest and oldest aviation-focused university in the world. She will be studying aerospace engineering and Russian. She is proud not to only be a part of the #1 aeronautic program in the nation, but to also be part of the ROTC Eagle Battalion. Mariah will be commissioned as an active duty second lieutenant in the United States Army upon graduating from college, and she hopes to continue her military career as a Black Hawk pilot. Ladies, let's give a warm greeting for your governor, Mariah Daffron. You're quite welcome.
Come over here.
Now we have to do a little bit of official business here. I have to officially turn the program over to her. Here's your official governor's pin. I will try not to stick you.
Oh, that's okay. I've been sticking before.
Okay. And here's your official gavel that is engraved, Mariah Daffron, 2016 RGS Governor. Use it wisely as you go through the week. There you go.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for your introduction, as well as your time and commitment to this program. Hello, ladies, counselors, staff, speakers, and supporters of the annual Rhododendron Girls State. I would like to begin by welcoming you to the 75th commencement of the program you are about to explore and the journey you will inevitably embark upon. To express my point of view, it's always extremely humbling to stand before a group filled with such intellect, grace, and most importantly, potential. I, along with my fellow junior and senior counselors, have been granted the opportunity to watch you all develop over the course of the week, which is an honor that I can promise will not be taken lightly. But more importantly, let's address your point of view. The ladies sitting to your left and right will quickly become your competition, your acquaintances, and your unwavering support. Each and every one of you has separate strengths and weaknesses. One of the things I treasure most about Girls State is that it has a certain way of highlighting both your most important positive and negative attributes. This strenuous week will bring out the best in you should you choose to allow it. And it will also reveal to you new areas in which you may struggle. The key to being the best Girls State citizen you can possibly be is by learning how to harness the lessons that the people around you will teach you and use them to strengthen your weaknesses and address your strengths with grace and humility. Girls State, essentially, is what you make of it. There will be many small challenges for you to overcome, but this afternoon I'd like to throw a larger obstacle in your path. I challenge all of you to find something in particular that you can improve upon, whether it is public speaking, branching out and meeting new people, or having a positive attitude towards the community. Take this time this week to conquer one of those fears. I can promise you from experience that it will not happen in a day, and it may not even happen over the course of this week. But I can promise that the environment that you sit in right now is full of the leadership, wisdom, advice, and compassion, all of which act as a catalyst for personal growth. You have the tools to self-reflect and inspire others at your fingertips, and I strongly encourage you to use them to the very best of your advantage. Asking questions, being open-minded, and reaching out to those around you is guaranteed to assist you in the tackling of your obstacles this week, both large and small. Girls State promotes an array of positivity and growth. Your director, assistant director, staff, and counselors will provide you with everything you need to succeed. All you have to do is reach out in return. To quote the ever-eloquent Donald Glover, better known as Childish Gambino, there is a voice inside us all, so smile when you can. Recognize your potential with grace and a sense of humility, and I can guarantee you that you will reap the benefits that Girls State is so highly regarded for. Now, without further ado, I'd like to formally welcome the American Legion Auxilary West Virginia Department President, Mrs. Tammy Workman. Mrs. Workman, as the 2016-2017 Department President, wholeheartedly supports the ideals of service that continue to define the American Legion Auxiliary within the state of West Virginia. She is a proponent of selflessness and the advocacy for those who express their love for God and country in the most sacrificial way. Ms. Workman is an educator, a mentor, and a patriot, with the goal of developing the American Legion Auxiliary's ideals of peace and security. Without further ado, I am more than honored to welcome the American Legion Auxiliary West Virginia Department President, Mrs. Tammy Workman, to share with us some words of encouragement.
Thank you, Mariah. It's an honor to be here and be a part of your opening day. I was here last year. It was my first experience as vice president for the department to be here. So I was really anxious to come back this year. I know that there's going to be a lot of things crammed into your week, and no matter what you choose to do down the road in your careers or in your life, this is going to be a prominent part, because it doesn't matter if you go into politics or into leadership into communities. You know, just raising a family and staying at home, these are going to be beneficial things for you. So I hope that you keep an open mind, make new friends, and I know you'll remember this always. So have a good week.
Thank you, President Workman, for your wise words. I would like to now welcome a very special young lady to speak to us today. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Casey Michael, American Legion Auxiliary Honorary Department Junior President.
Good evening. I would like to thank the American Legion Auxilary and Miss Michelle for the privilege of speaking at the 75th anniversary of Rhododendron Girls State. It is my honor as the American Legion Auxilary Department of West Virginia honorary junior president to be here. I would like to tell you a little bit about how I am. I am 12 years old and live in Berkeley Springs. For those of you that do not know, that is in the Eastern Panhandle, about 100 miles from Washington, D.C. I just finished 6th grade. I am a part of a competitive cheerleading squad and also on the middle school track team. I have an older brother and 2 younger sisters. My mother works medical records, and my dad, after spending 4 years in the United States Marine Corps, has been with the Air National Guard 167th Airlift Wing in Martinsburg for the last 15 years. Now I would like to talk about my dad, my veteran. Even though I have always lived with a veteran, I never knew what a veteran was. My dad went to Afghanistan when I was 8 years old. I didn't know why he was going, just that it was his job. He bought a teddy bear for my brother, my sister, and me. He gave them to us before he left. The bears had a recording with a message from Dad to each of us. I cried every time I heard my dad's voice when I listened to it. I miss my dad so much. I still have my bear, and I still cry when I hear my dad's voice, even though he's still here with me. I still didn't know what a veteran was. 2 years ago, after becoming a junior member of the American Legion Auxiliary, that all changed. I realized that my dad was one of those veterans that protected all of us. He is one of those veterans that has fought and sacrificed so that we may have all the freedoms that we now have, something that I, and maybe you, have taken for granted. All veterans were there to fight in wars and make sacrifices to give all of us rights and choices that we have today. Imagine the countries that don't give their people choices. We're lucky. Just think, girls, without our veterans, we may not be allowed to have our phones. All the things we have, we owe to our veterans. Being a junior member has taught me so many things that I probably would never have learned until maybe I was an adult. We have 9 veterans in our local nursing home. At our junior meetings each month, we make something for them. Sometimes it is a card or a craft. We do something special for them each month and always include snacks. They enjoy seeing us and ask when we'll be back. I had this favorite veteran. His name was Mr. Spike. He had been in the Army. He was a small man. He dressed every day like he was going to church. He had on dress clothes and usually a tie. His shoes were always shined. He had a row of hats that hung in his room, and when he left the nursing home to go out to dinner, something he would put on his hat. Not like a baseball hat, but a dress hat. I remember going to visit him for St. Patrick's Day and taking his card and candy. He was all dressed up and said that he was going out to dinner. I told him to be sure to put one of those nice hats on, and he laughed and said he would. That was the last time I got to visit Mr. Spike. We took Easter gifts to our veterans in April, but he wasn't there. He passed away 2 days before. He was such a kind, sweet man. I miss him. This great organization has taught me the meaning of the love for my flag and my country. When I say the Pledge of Allegiance or hear the national anthem, I now understand what it is all about, and I feel proud. The American Legion Auxiliary, the most wonderful organization there is, has taught me, most of all, my understanding and love and respect for our veterans. I'm sure all of you know some veterans, or maybe even have some in your family. You may be able to come to a junior meeting. Check with your sponsoring auxiliary unit and see if you are eligible. And I'm sure they will help you. You won't be sorry. The small things matter to a veteran, especially those who are in the hospital or nursing home. A visit, a smile, and a thank you means so much to them. It lets them know that they are not forgotten and gives you such a good feeling to help a veteran. I hope all of you have a wonderful week getting to know each other and making new friends. I know some of the American Legion Auxiliary staff that is here with you, and they are really nice. I hope to be where you are this week in 4 years. And remember, when you sparkle, think of our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Michael. You truly are an inspiration to young ladies across the state. Mr. Sherman Baxa, Department Commander for the 2016-2017 frame, was born in Buchanan and spent his childhood in Upshur County. Mr. Baxa joined the Marine Corps shortly after graduating from Buchanan Upshur High School. He would serve for 4 years, being stationed for the last 16 months of his military career in Okinawa, Japan, attached to the 3rd Force Service Regiment, 3rd Marines. Upon returning to civilian life, Mr. Baxa would serve as a police officer, eventually serving on the Major Crimes Division Homicide Squad and retiring as a sergeant in 1985. He would go on to hold the positions of Upshur County Sheriff, Post 7 Commander, Chaplain, and various committee memberships. He also served as the District Commander, Vice Commander, and Chaplain, which led to his success on a national level as a member of the National Security Commission's Unconventional Forces and Intelligence Committee. Mr. Baxa has 2 children, 6 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild, and he remains engaged in his family values, farming, camping, hunting, and fishing in the great state of West Virginia. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Sherman Baxa, current department commander.
Thank you. Thank you. What an honor. Can you hear me back there okay? I couldn't hear it. Can you hear me back there okay? All right. What a privilege and honor it is to be here this evening. I look out among you and I see all these young ladies out there, and I must say I have spoken to a lot of different groups over my 50-year career with the public, but I have never had the opportunity to have an audience, a captive audience, that's all women like this. What an honor. I was down at Boys State earlier today. You guys look much, much better than they do. Guests, staff, counselors, those representing our government, director, and assistant director. And Betty Ray, how are you, darling? I want to thank all of you for this opportunity to be here to share with you just a few things. I've belonged to the American Legion for several years now, and I've held office, starting out on a local level in the Legion and worked my way up the chairs, as they call them. And I must say that the American Legion is family. We have the American Legion, then we have the American Legion Auxilary. We have the Sons of American Legion, and then the Legion has a subdivision called Legion Riders. We are all family. We all work together. We all support each other. I heard this lady say that she's going to be commissioned in the United States Army as a second lieutenant when she graduates 4 years hence, I would assume. I want to be the first to tell her we would love to have you as a member of the American Legion. So, as doing my part as a recruiter as well, I have taken care of that. Girl State, Rhododendron Girl State, premier program of the Auxilary. They're involved in many things. But you as young ladies, as you go out in the world, you're going to find that your certificate of graduation from Girl State is a treasured and coveted piece of paper. It will help you out in resumes as you go through life. I would suggest to you that you keep an open mind. I am sure this may be the first time many of you have been out of the nest, so to speak, for an extended period of time, and you'll feel uncomfortable for a while. But you'll see someone else that may just feel as comfortable as you are, but they haven't said it. But make friends. Keep an open mind. Listen to what others have to say. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I heard someone else mention that earlier. The one thing that I want you to think about as you go through this week, and you probably already have to some extent, the American dream. Each of you should have an American dream. It may be very high, it may be something mediocre like me. I was a police officer. I was in criminal justice system all my career, just an average job, but it was serving the public. And I had that American dream from the time I got out of the Marine Corps. I wanted to be in law enforcement, and I fulfilled that. So I would say to you, each individually, cultivate that dream. You hear folks say, old fogies my age, say, don't know what this world's coming to, these youngsters. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I see the future right here. And you guys, this United States of America doesn't have anything to worry about. We're in fine shape with leaders like you. Thank you. So enjoy your week here. Make friends, make lasting friends. You're going to have friends that you'll keep the remainder of your life here. But also keep in mind that goal that you have for yourself. Fulfill that goal, have the American dream. I want to thank you again for allowing me a few minutes here. Thank you so much. Have a great week. And remember to go back home and tell those girls that are coming up in high school that'll be going into the senior year next year what they have to gain by coming here. Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Thank you, Commander. Thank you, President Tammy, and thank you, Casey. It's a pleasure to have all of you with us. My name is Rosemary Thomas, and I have the privilege of serving as your Assistant Director. I've been involved with the Girls State program for 32 years, and I will tell you that what I'm about to do is truly one of the highest honors that I've ever been given, and that is to introduce someone to you that is usually associated with fun and games, perhaps a little bit of illegal activity. The troopers are well aware of her speeding ability and some other things. There are some shenanigans involved. But I have a story to tell you about Betty Ray. Betty Ray has been active all her life. She has lived in Follinsby since the day she was born 90 years ago. There she attended Follinsby High School. After graduation, now if you're going to misbehave, I'm going to tell my real story and get rid of this paper. You decide. Okay. Okay. Can I tell them what you told me? She said, this is my obituary, so practice it well. She did. After graduation, she worked at Weirton Steel, supporting the war effort. She bundled and bound coils. After World War II was over and the boys came home, she married Frank Ray, poor unfortunate soul. And they raised 3 wonderful young men, Chippy, Terry, and Larry. They weren't the 3 Stooges, but they had the comedian as a mom. Betty has been active in the Follinsby Junior Women's Club, the Eastern Star, Civic League, and American Legion Auxilary throughout her life. She has served as local unit president, district, and state president, and served as Central Division National Vice President of the American Legion Auxilary. Betty is also active in the Follinsby Presbyterian Church, serving as an elder. In addition, she aided the city of Follinsby by serving on the board of Parks and Recreation for more than 15 years. You know that sitcom Parks and Rec? We'll just leave that one on the table. In 1968, after her oldest son graduated from high school, she set out to achieve an educational dream of going to college. She also wanted to keep her eyes on her son. She enrolled at West Liberty and set her sights on a degree in kindergarten and special education. After 2 years of successful college experience, she left to take a position in Brooke County Schools as a Title I reading aide. She retired in 1989, planning then to go back to school again, but another organization was close to her heart and she felt needed her attention. That organization was the American Legion Auxilary Rhododendron Girls State program. Betty Ray's life in Girls State had started in 1963. You see, she was never able to achieve her dream of attending as a high school student because when she was a junior in high school in 1943, they had no Girls State that year, nor in 1945 because of our activities in the war. However, I will say, in 2014, we had the privilege of naming her an honorary citizen of Rhododendron Girls State. In 1963, Betty was asked to attend as a senior counselor and thus her dream had come true. She was on her way to experience all that Girls State could offer. She has served as a counselor for many years and director for 10 years. The last few years, she's been in the country store, printing and paper room, and the main office where you can find the coffee pot. There has never been a dull moment in her life or that of the counselors and girls that have been part of her 53-year service to the American Legion Girls State program. So what she has to say is, just keep the coffee hot, and here she is. Betty Ray, please come up. I just read what you wrote. You're lucky. Okay, baby, go for it.
If you think it's fun sitting up here looking at all you girls in your casual clothes, and I'm dressed like this, I envy you. Blue jeans and sweatshirts have been all my life. Thank you for those wonderful words. And you read them just the way I wrote them. And I still say it sounds like my eulogy. Now, I don't know whether to shut up or quit or go on saying what I want to say. Well, there was a singer many, many years ago, and his name was Al Jolson. And he wanted to break into Hollywood and singing, but he could never have a chance. So one day he went to a bar and he sang because the other person canceled out. Well, he was so good, they contracted him to sing, and so he kept on singing his songs that evening, one encore after another one. Well, after a while, he got tired and he thought, no, I can't disappoint my audience. So he turns around and he says, now listen, you all sit back and you relax and enjoy yourself because you ain't heard nothing yet. Now, you've got to listen. Some of you have never met before, and some of you have. You have been sitting there for enough time. I think it's time. Now, don't jump all at one time. I want you to get up very nicely, tap the person on your right, say hello, do the same to the person on the left. Now, hey, wait a while. Now, how about the person in front of you and in back of you? But I was really going to ask you to stand up because I think everybody needs a minute to stand up, don't you? I told you haven't heard anything yet. You may be here till midnight.
Congressman McKinley has a vote soon.
Ma'am?
Congressman McKinley will have a vote before that.
Oh, maybe. You are here to learn about our democratic form of government. You will have city, county, and government classes. You must pay attention to your instructors. You may want to enter the political field someday, and you could learn an awful lot from them. If you do, be careful you don't end up on the wrong side of the tracks. You pay close attention to the political field today. I feel right now, even at my age, I could go to Washington and contribute more than what's going on out there now. But as I look over this crowd of young ladies, I think to myself, you are my future, what's left of it. You are going to make your own future. Others will be depending on you to make their future secure. You are the leaders of tomorrow. Lead them in the right direction. Now, there's another gentleman that I listen to occasionally because every once in a while he has some good endings. But this is the one I like the best. And his name is Dr. Phil. Yes, I get a big laugh out of it too. And he says, before he comes on the stage, and before you begin your full week of Rhododendron Girl State activities, this is going to be the changing week of your life. God bless you. Don't get excited over there on the end. But there's one thing I forgot. I am supposed to welcome you to this session, and there's only one way to put it. I think I get louder over here. Well, it's just like this. Welcome! This is Sunday Night Live at ALA at Wheeling Jesuit University, where you are at the Rhododendron Girl State program. Welcome!
Oh my goodness, you are so short, girl. You're so short. I'm scared I'm going to break it. I'm good. I'll just crouch a little bit. Thank you, Miss Betty Ray, for your words of wisdom. Congressman David McKinley has represented the 1st District of West Virginia since January 3rd, 2011. A native of Wheeling, McKinley would go on to graduate from Purdue University's School of Civil Engineering, eventually founding McKinley & Associates, an architectural engineering firm. The congressman worked in the industry for 44 years, creating hundreds of jobs for citizens across the state. He is one of 2 professional engineers in Congress and is currently active in regarding issues such as the coal industry, environmental regulation, energy efficiency, and healthcare. Congressman McKinley is married to the former Mary Gherkin, and together they are the proud parents of 4 children and 6 grandchildren. Ladies, please join me in welcoming 1st District Congressman David B. McKinley to the stage.
Well, good evening to you. I don't know how to take that from Betty. What am I supposed to do? Betty, we want to invite you to come to Washington sometime. Maybe you can straighten things out over there a little bit. But listen, the other thing I was observing, these things, these little smartphones that we all carry around with, how many times I've been at different gatherings, and one of the first things people do is they whip out their cell phone and they start paying attention to that. So I want to applaud you all. I have not seen one of you out there using your cell phone during this. So this was a... That's a testament, I think, to the character that's in the room when you do something like that. So thank you. And Commander and Governor Mariah, you know, she's going to be, she just introduced herself as being one of the engineers who will graduate with that. And you heard in the introduction of mine, I'm only just, out of 535 members of Congress, there are only 2 engineers. But there are 242 attorneys. Now, not like Seinfeld said, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it makes an interesting mix when we talk about how we're going to get some things accomplished in Washington with it. So I welcome you to the engineering profession. I think that she will enjoy that, the whole treat with that. But again, welcome. Welcome to my hometown. I'm a 7th generation here in Wheeling. So my grandson is now our 9th generation. And thanks to this cell phone like we had, just a few minutes ago, I was able to watch him. They were streaming a baseball game up in Cooperstown. He was playing up there this afternoon. And to be able to watch that game while here we are in Wheeling, and 6 hours, 7 hours away, we can watch his ball game. It's a wonderful time that you and I exist in right now. And only can think about the wonderful and magnificent things that are going to happen in the years to come. But your theme this year, leave a little sparkle wherever you go. It's certainly appropriate for here at Wheeling Jesuit, because their motto, although it's the translation from Latin, is "Let your light shine." And I think that it's great. It's certainly appropriate for you to have this as your theme, and for that at Wheeling Jesuit at all. And I congratulate each of you, because you are you're special in your school. You've been selected by your classmates and the like to be able to participate in something like this. This is from your leadership, academics, community spirit. These are the things we're looking for the next generation. And I applaud you for that. So, and I know, and you've heard a lot about how important this week's going to be. Yes, trust me, this is going to be a magnificent week. You're going to learn all about a lot of operation, but more importantly, how to get along with other people. You're meeting people from all over the state that you haven't met before. So I want to remind you that you're also carrying a torch for the previous generation of women that have come before you, that made America great. These are phenomenal people. You know, we all have talked about the Founding Fathers. We see it in our history classes. I'm going to give you a little history test here in a minute. You can see it coming on you. But you hear about the Founding Fathers. People like Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, they're all familiar names. But how many of you know the backstory behind them, the people that were there for them, the women that were supporting our whole revolution that we did back in the 1700s? There had to be, and it continuing on through there, people that have been there, people that helped shape the country as much as the people that were standing there at Philadelphia or Washington or wherever that might have been in the Revolutionary. There are the women behind them. Let me just show of hands here. Let me give you just an example. There's a woman by the name of Eliza Pinckney out of South Carolina. Have any of you heard of her? And understandably. But she came, her parents brought her to South Carolina back in the early 1700s. But by 1738, her father decided that he was going to leave the colonies, and he went off to fight another war that Britain was fighting down in the Caribbean, and left his wife, who was sickly, in the care of a 16-year-old girl, Eliza Pinckney. And she had to manage over 2,000 acres of property and all their estate, everything that they had done. And what particularly is interesting for her is that she took that responsibility to task and knew very early on through botany and horticulture that she had the chance of changing this country. This was something in its embryonic stage, and she wanted to find ways that we could bring agriculture to it. So she started developing through seeds at 16 years old, seeds to create indigo, because indigo was a big product they wanted to buy in England. And she started off one year, she produced 5,000 seeds. And the next year, she produced 5,000 pounds of indigo seeds. And the next year, 130,000 pounds of indigo seeds. So she was told, you can't do it. As a woman, you can't succeed with this. And this is a crop that won't work in America. But she had that intestinal fortitude, that strength, and said, I'm going to make it work. And she did it. And she went on to great things. She is now in the Hall of Fame in South Carolina. She not only did she make her mark in botany and horticulture, but two of her sons were also that she continued on, that signed the Declaration of Independence, excuse me, not the Declaration, but the Constitution, and then one went on to become an ambassador to Spain. These are all from a woman that was, hey, hard times as she came up through it. And the best way to say the character of how she was respected throughout all of America, George Washington was her pallbearer when she died in 1793 in Philadelphia. She was there in Philadelphia fighting for women's rights on health care. Eliza Pinckney. So when you do get a chance to pick up your cell phone, take a look at it a little bit, and you'll be able to check it a little bit. And I have another person that maybe you've heard about, Abigail Adams, wife of John Adams. Plenty of movies about John Adams, but look about Abigail. John was gone. One time he was in a stretch. He had left his farm and his family for 7 years while he was overseas because he was appointed to represent us in the courts in Europe to be able to find out how we can establish ourselves as a nation. Abigail just picked up the rope and went out to work and was able to keep her farm and her property producing. And she was an outspoken women's rights. And if you look at her, I've had a chance at the Library of Congress to actually hold in my hands correspondence from Abigail, how she was lecturing her husband John on women's rights and make sure that you treat the women properly and understanding the rights in the Constitution as they put that together. So she was an incredible lady. But she also had one of two things that are unique in American history. She was both the mother and the wife of a president. We had one other person like that in the history of our country. Can you think who the other one was? Barbara Bush. Only happened twice in the 200-plus years, almost 250 years of our country. Someone like that is very unique with that. But then she was just, she took care of things all while they were gone. And she became a trusted advisor and very strong confidant for him, and to be able to guide the country. Because you've got to put yourself back in that period of time. We didn't have a constitution. We didn't know where we were going, who were going to be our friends, how we were going to build this nation. But Abigail stood firm and gave good advice. Then the third person, the last one I want to talk about, was a woman who was widowed at the age of 25. She had 2 children and was left to manage her estate as well. But she remarried and was living a normal life. That was until her husband was drafted into the Army. She decided, though, during that conflict back in the Revolution, that she would leave her home and go be with her husband. So she joined him in his camps, and she spent most of her time. These are things that you don't find typically in the biographies, but look back in behind it, peel back a layer and find out. She went to those camps to be able to inspire the people to fight on when the revolution wasn't going all that well all the time. And she stood there with them. She went into the tents, like those MASH tents that we've seen in the television shows, and she helped to wound and nurse our wounded veterans during the Revolutionary War. She helped inspire these, just keep their morale up with it. And she played a huge role advising her husband. Then after the war was over, she thought things would go back to normal. She'd go back to her farm with her husband. But he was called to other duties. So her name, Martha Washington. Think of the history, the impact that she had. We all know about George, but think of the impact that Martha Washington had on the establishment of this country. If she hadn't been there in those tents, if she hadn't been there holding the hands of some of those veterans that were hurting and challenging, would we have been able to survive that effort with it? So I want to encourage you to read the book. It's called Founding Mothers. Founding Mothers by Cokie Roberts. It's an incredibly inspiring book for all of us to be able to look behind the scenes of how we became the greatest nation on the globe. And it was in large part because of the women that were standing there directing, guiding, and helping nurture our country through some very difficult times with that. So throughout the history, Women have made enormous contributions, and you're carrying on that tradition as you have joined I guess this is the 75th Rhododendron Girl State. Well, you may not be called to go to Valley Forge or the truth, or you may not be called to work on a plantation on a large 2,000-acre farm or 17,000-acre farm, but most assuredly, you're going to have to leave your comfort zone at one time or another to help out, to do something that's unusual. And I think what you're going to find from this experience you've had today, this week, you're going to develop some of the confidence that you'll have to be able to achieve a lot of your goals and to help this country move forward. So the skills and relationship you develop this week are going to be very crucial to you. So when you're faced with challenges, just please remember the women that have come before you, who have faced adversity, and then they thrived because they believed in our country, they believed in the vision, they had that, as the commander said, that American dream. They wanted something to be special, and they survived with it. And each of them left a little sparkle behind wherever they were. So I thank you very much for this opportunity to address you. And if we can borrow Betty, we're going to take her back to Washington when we go back tomorrow. God bless all of you. Thank you very much for coming out here tonight.
Congressman McKinley, thank you. That was an awesome speech. Commander Baxa, thank you. Ms. Casey and President Tammy, thank you for coming and sharing our evening with us. And Ms. Betty Ray, I'm sorry, you stay. Whether we like it or not, you're here. Okay, girls, we have one more official thing to do before the fun really begins, and that is the official swearing in of our citizens. And we thought we'd do something different this year since it's our 75th session. So it is my pleasure to introduce this next beautiful lady to administer the official oath of citizenship, Mrs. Irene Weber. Mrs. Weber has been a member of the American Legion Auxilary for 55 years. She has served as our department president and also as our Central Division National Vice President. While Mrs. Weber did not attend Girl State as a citizen, her daughter did, she has actively participated in the program for the past 50 years, serving as a senior counselor and then becoming assistant Girl State director. And then she served in the position of director for 17 years prior to me taking over 4 years ago. She is currently president of the Girl State Board of Incorporators, and she's back as our office manager because her daughter would not be here if she was not here. So, in 2015, she became an honorary citizen of an organization that she has really helped shape and continues with the help of everybody else sitting out here before us through her volunteer service and her impeccable leadership. Ladies, it is truly my pleasure to introduce to you not only my best friend, but my mother, Irene Weber.
Thank you, Michelle. President Tammy, Commander Sherman, Honorary President Casey, and Congressman McKinley. It's wonderful having you here with us. And I want to tell you, we're truly honored to have you, Mariah, as our governor. And I see nothing but a bright future for you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, because we do have some gentlemen. It is my duty up here tonight to tell you just a few things.
And I will tell you that the first time that I came to Girl State was a long time ago, as you heard Michelle say. This is my 50th year, so I came when I was only in my teens. But anyway, I want you to know that my first year was 1968, and as I was sitting in this audience looking at the program being presented, I kept thinking, I was so overwhelmed and confused. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? And I'm sure that maybe some of you all are feeling the same way tonight. But I can tell you this much. If you give us a chance and you give yourselves a chance, you will have the time of your life. You not only will make new lifelong friends, but you will meet some old friends that you've met along the way through school activities. But the best part you will experience is what it means to be a leader, or maybe perhaps a follower. So whatever you choose to be, because it takes both, because that you have to be your best. Michelle and Rosemary have worked very hard in the past, year. They start planning next year's session when this year ends. So these two ladies are very, very dedicated in preparing this week for you all. So girls, you like diamonds, right? I do. I love diamonds. This is our 75th year, and the symbol of 75 is a diamond. So, please leave a little sparkle wherever you go. I'll leave you with this one thing. One of my favorite sayings over a long time, and I'm not a country music fan, but I love this song. And it is Leanne Womack's song, I Hope You Dance. So ladies, this week, please don't set this one out. I hope you dance. So now we will begin with the swearing in. Will you please stand? All the citizens, just the citizens. Okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I pledge that I will support the Constitution of Rhododendron Girl State, that I will give my full support and cooperation to the Girl State staff, and that I will faithfully obey the rules and duties of a citizen of Girl State. To the best of my skill and judgment. So help me God. Thank you, ladies. You are now an official citizen of Rhododendron Girl State. Let's give them a hand.
She's done.
Yeah, I'm ready. Thank you, ladies, and have a good week. This is my roommate. This is what I live with all week.
Okay, ladies, if you will stay seated, we still have a few more things to do, but we want to go ahead and let our special guest exit the stage, and you may still join us for the rest of the evening, or you can go where it's cooler. Sorry, Johannes. Okay, girls, one last thing to do, and then you will be going into your party caucuses. We want to introduce our staff to you so that when you see us on campus, we're here to help in any way we can. We are here for you to make sure that you have a great week. And as I mentioned, my staff, if you will just please come and stand along the front, I'd greatly appreciate it. The first person that I want to introduce, you guys have already had contact with. She does a great job as our registrar. She is here for you if you need anything. She is a past department president of the American Legion Auxilary, and this is Ann Buchanan. The second lovely lady I'd like to introduce, you guys will probably see her throughout the week as she will be in our office, but she will also be serving as a banker when we need her. She is our department secretary-treasurer, and when I say department, I mean of the state of West Virginia. And she is also a past department president, Paulette Anderson. I don't think this, let's skip over her for right now. Okay, the next person I'd like to introduce, you will also see a lot of this week, as she is our country store manager. She is also a past department president, and that's Miss Sharon Glassford. Also assisting her in the country store is not only a past department president, but she is also a past Central Division National Vice President, and that's Linda Lancaster. Of course, you've already met this gem of a jewel up here on stage, Miss Betty, where is she? Oh, Miss Betty Ray. She just kind of floats throughout the week, so it's hard to tell where you find her or see her. But if you find her in your room, please send her back to corporate headquarters. But again, she is a past department president, and she is also a past Central Division National Vice President, Miss Betty Ray. And again, my office manager, my beautiful mother, who has also served as a past department president and a Central Division National Vice President, Irene Weber. You'll see these two ladies a lot. Some of you will be on their staff, and that is our newspaper editor, Connie Frederick, and her assistant, Jubilee Prosser. And is Barbara here? She was. Okay, we also have another very important lady with us this week, and that is our nurse, Barbara. And hopefully she didn't have an emergency that she had to go out for, but she is on campus. She's at the Ignatius Hall on the second floor. So for any medical needs, just come and we will get you to her. Ladies, this is a week that, unfortunately, you will not see many males on campus. Sorry. But we do have two wonderful gentlemen who are with us this week to provide security detail for us, to keep us all safe and secure. And those are Trooper Parker and Trooper Thompson. And we have one in the back of the room. So we appreciate the services that they are offering this week to make sure that we all stay safe. And this last person on my staff that I'd like to introduce, I really do not think I could do it without her. She is a rock for me. She's my little sister by another mother. But she's there to support me in any way I need her. All I have to do is ask her. You will see a lot of her this week, and it is my wonderful friend and little sister, because she is younger, Dr. Rosemary Thomas. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ladies, and you guys may be seated.
Thank you, Michelle. Michelle does such a fabulous job of putting this together, and the 75th anniversary is something we've all been looking forward to. And you know that when she was introducing her staff, the green shirt brigade and the ladies in the pink shirts and the troopers in the back, you know, there is so much leadership and so much giving that comes from these people. Everyone here is a volunteer. Everyone here is here because we believe in the American Legion Auxilary, and we believe in you. By virtue of believing in the American Legion Auxilary, we believe in our country, we believe in our God, and we believe that our freedom was not without a cost, and that cost was on the shoulders of our veterans. We hope that this week you will form a new appreciation for veterans, for our country, and quite frankly, for your own opportunities and for the leadership that we know will be developing in you. There is one more gentleman that you'll be seeing a lot of. Well, actually, you'll see a portion of him because he'll be behind a camera taking pictures, but that's Josh Triggs. Josh is right here in front. And I want to call Josh out and mention him because the slideshow that you saw up here are pictures that he took last year, and actually other members of our staff took, and we did a compilation of those. But Josh will be taking pictures throughout the week, capturing special activities that you're involved with and all of that, and those will be available to you for purchase, and your counselors will talk with you about that. But I just wanted to mention Josh to you because you're going to see this guy walking around. You're like, how do we get those pictures? Because we had that in our critique sheets last year. The people that are not only going to help you capture some wonderful moments and teach you so much and help guide you through this week and make the very most of it are your junior and senior counselors. And ladies, these folks cannot make your week for you. But what they can do is take it from good to great. And that's what they plan to do. I don't know if you've ever heard that scenario that you can take things from good to great. And how do you do that? You do that by working together. You do that by working as a team. You came in here as individuals. And I know that that's how it worked. And you checked into your rooms and you got your own clothes put away and you did all those types of things and you figured out what you were going to do with your materials that they gave you and you signed in and you did all that stuff. And now you're part of something bigger than yourself. You're part of a community. You're part of a community that believes in you just because you showed up. You're part of a community that is led by junior and senior counselors who have come back year in and year out. And I can't even imagine. We'll add it up. We'll have to add it up. The different, we've done that before. How many years of Girls State experience do we have? And ladies, every year it is our goal that this will be the best year ever. Now, you all know this. You're scientific minded, I'm sure. We all live in West Virginia. We all know that coal is a very valuable resource. But we also know that under pressure, what does coal become? It becomes a diamond. So here we are. We've arrived. We are here in our 75th anniversary year of being part of something that has seen pressure. Couldn't even have the sessions during Betty Ray's years because the country was under such pressure. We've seen pressure in the state that almost precluded us from having it for financial purposes. Or we've also been here in this building when we thought we were going to have to end the session because there were tornado warnings going off and we had to take shelter. So you know what? There's pressure that happens. But at the end of all that, we've been able to leave a little sparkle wherever we've gone. And we know that you all brought a whole lot of sparkle with you. I will tell you, just so you know, Congressman McKinley mentioned, Commander Baxa mentioned that you all are a better looking group than down the road at Jackson's Mill at Boys State. I want to commend you all, and I also want to commend your parents, because what we did today was we registered with Ann's help and all the pre-work that she did as our registrar, we registered and welcomed nearly 350 young women to be part of this special week. And what I want to commend you on and commend your parents on is they allowed us, the pink shirts and the purple shirts and the green shirts and whoever else, they allowed us to talk to you. They didn't talk for you. They didn't do your work for you. They didn't hold your hand while you came here. So guess what? You're very fortunate because they believe in you too. They believe in you enough to drive away from here and to say that they want you to grow and they want this week to make a difference in your life. Making a difference is what it's all about. And I'm going to introduce you to these ladies who are going to make a difference in your life this week. So I'm hoping that we've got some enthusiasm out there. I will tell you, I've heard kind of a quiet group this year. I have a feeling that'll change, but we're going to just see how it goes as we kind of move through some of these communities, because I'm going to introduce to you your junior and senior counselors, and we're just going to start at the top of the list here, and we're going to go with Braxton community. Braxton, are you out there? Okay. Braxton will be led by Deb Fox and Cassie Stout. If you all will come over this way. That's pretty good. You want more? What was that? We now are adding acrobatics and tumbling to Girls State. How about Calhoun? Are you out there? Oh, Whitney Ramey and Isabella Vance. Come on up. How about Lewis? That's pretty good. Sue Brown and Cheyenne Thompson, your junior and senior counselors. And the governor's community, Mariah, stand up. Marion, okay. Jill Robbins and Haley McDougall, along with Governor Mariah. All right. From Monongalia, how about that? Maddie Parker and Becky Luketic. How about Northern Pan? Kayla DeLorenzo and Hannah Gordon. Come on up. All right, we're going to have to tighten up the ranks here, ladies. We got lots more communities. How about Kanawha? Oh, my. Gabby Flanagan. Taya. Do I dare try it? Oluwafemi. Close? Not even? Not bad? Okay. And Colleen Miller. Woo-woo! Randolph. Are they sleeping in the back? Randolph. Ashley Parrish and Maddie Matheny. How about Monroe? Gina Mahan, Morgan Talbot, and Marley Hoffman. Okay, now, these next two communities, their senior counselors are pulling double and triple duty because they are also your party consultants. So we'll get to that, so just hang on. But let's go with Upshur. All right, Kate Garlick, Hannah LeMasters, and Taylor Barnes. What's the matter? They're sleeping. And what about Webster? Not too bad. Tristan Quinones, Jessica Kimball, and Katie Mossberg. All right, ladies, the people that you see before you are the ones that are going to guide you through. They're the ones, they're the ones that I have tasked them with doing one thing this week, and that is that we know we're going to have some lemons. We're going to have some sour things happen. We're going to have some lemons that we come upon, but we're going to make lemonade. So they're probably going to make fun of me, all right? I'm sure they already have. Oh, we have to make lemonade out of that. So I have a feeling that I can already see the skit on Thursday night. There will be a lemonade stand, I have a feeling. But regardless of all that, these ladies have contacted Michelle and I throughout the year to say, how can we help? We want to come back. We want to be there. The junior counselors who were here last year said, ours was the best experience ever. And we know that if we come back, we can help make it even better. Ladies, that's what it's all about. There's two kinds of leaders. And you need to think about which kind you want to be. Because I know what kind I have standing in front of me. And those two kinds of leaders are, there are leaders that do not want to give up power. They do not want to step away because they can't imagine that there's anyone that can do anything better than they can. And then there are leaders that want to empower others and want those who follow them, who follow in their footsteps, to have even greater success, to meet challenges with even greater enthusiasm, and to truly make everything a little better than they found it. That's who's standing in front of you. These ladies make a difference each and every day in my life, in Michelle's life, in the life of this program. We're only together 1 week a year. We pick up where we left off. And this year is something special. It's our 75th anniversary. And ladies, we are going to leave a little sparkle wherever we go, but we're also going to shine very, very brightly. Give all of these ladies a hand. They're going to take care of you this week. Thank you, junior and senior counselors. You may return to your seats. Kate and Tristan, you want to come on up here? Yeah, they say, yeah. You did? That's why they yelled loud? Okay, ladies. So I do want to, whenever they're done down here, we'll just wait. I do want to commend you on giving our speakers this evening your undivided attention. And I know that they made the comment about the cell phones, and you're thinking, well, we don't have our cell phones out because they told them if we see them, they'll take them away. And that's really kind of true. But let me also mention to you this. If you think it doesn't matter, you were just proven wrong by the congressman who is from the 1st District of West Virginia. He noticed. He appreciated it. He thanked you. And I know some of you are thinking, well, you had your cell phone out up there on stage. Yes, I did. And I have taken pictures of you all so that we can put them up and so that we can add to our snapshots and maybe even put some Snapchat out there or tweet it out, whatever we're going to do. Kate's standing behind me going, she doesn't know what the heck she's talking about, but she'll have me do it later. Right, Kate? Is that what you're thinking? See, that's what she's thinking. I know this. But ladies, it does make a difference. How many chances do you have to make a first impression? 1. I told you what our first impression was of you, that you were independent ladies, that you were independent young ladies. And if anybody sent you here and said, oh, this is going to be great, you're the leaders of tomorrow, they're wrong. You're the leaders of today. You're the leaders of today. You're leaders in your schools. You're leaders in your communities. I know what some of you have done, okay? And I know some people they're having a conversation back there, so I'm just going to wait till they're done. They're probably talking about their next project. We do notice these things. We know what you've done in your communities. You wrote things. Many of you had to write things to be chosen to come to Girls State. Many of you have very strong veterans affiliations, either in your family and certainly in your circle of friends. Those of you who have family members who have served or are currently serving, not only do we thank you, but we applaud you, and we pray for you, and we assemble because of you and because of the sacrifices that you're making in addition to those of your family who are serving. Ladies, we have an opportunity tonight like none other, and I'm just going to be perfectly blunt. I've spent the last 3 years in Washington, D.C., and this is what I'm going to tell you about our country. I'm a political science major, and that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that I know what I'm talking about more than any of you. This is a time of political and social unrest in our country and in our world like I have never seen before. Now, I lost a family member 9/11, so for me to say that to you, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. This is a time like none other. The political and social unrest is hard to deal with. How many of you want to change the channel every time it comes on? How many of you don't think you can make a difference? How many of you think it's just completely out of control? How many of you can't wait to be 18 so you can vote? That's what we want to see. Ladies, you have a responsibility not only to yourselves, but you have a responsibility to the schools that you represent, in the communities that you represent. We are not 75 years old as a program by accident. We're 75 years old as a program because we matter and because the young ladies who come through here go out and make a huge difference. They make a difference one person at a time, one day at a time, and one activity or thought or job or test or class at a time. You make a difference. Before I turn it over to Kate and Tristan, I want to tell you that I'm very much looking forward to you all being actively engaged in the political process, and I hope you'll take time to do it. Don't be pessimistic because of what the rest of the world's doing right now. And don't ever think that a small group of well-intended women can't change the world, because really, and Congressman McKinley alluded to this, it's the only thing that ever has. The quote is actually that a small group of people, well-intended people, can't change the world, but we'll change it to say women, because it really is the only thing that ever has. The movements that you see out there, the movement that people are trying to pay attention to, they don't know which one to look at. They don't know which way to look. Let me tell you the first place that I want you to look. I want you to look in the mirror. I want you to look in the mirror, and I want you to be the absolute best person that you can be. Because I'll tell you, the ladies in the pink shirts and the purple shirts, and those of us who all got the memo and wore black and white up here tonight, and the ladies in the green shirts, we're here because we can see the other side of that mirror, and we can see who you are. We know that down deep inside, you're as frustrated as the rest of us. You want to be apathetic, but you can't. That's why you're here. You can make a difference. Knowledge is power. And I know you're thinking, oh my God, we just got done with school. Right. We're going to teach you something else. We're going to teach you that there are people who believe in you, that there are people who believe in what you believe, and that there are people who want you to know so that you can be informed and believe what it is that's out there to believe in. A Girls State citizen and friend of ours and former counselor called me a few months ago. When was that? Yeah, near inauguration time. And she said, you know, there's all these protests and stuff going on in Washington. There's all kinds of craziness going on in Washington. Am I wrong to not teach my 3 daughters? She said, I'm a Girls State girl. I'm politically active. I'm engaged in my community. Am I wrong to not have my girls stand up for this? And I said, you know what? The only thing I think you need to do as a mother, as a Girls State girl, as a proud citizen of the United States of America, is know what it is and teach your girls, know what it is that they're standing up for before they stand up. Take this week to do that, ladies. Take this week to learn from one another. Each of you has a different perspective. Each of you has a different viewpoint that you've brought here. Each of you has different ideas about what you want this week to be. We're going to divide you into 2 parties, not to try to create tension, not to try to create anxiety, and not to stir up debate or any kind of negative impressions or activities of any sort. But we want to teach you how to go through a primary election and then a general election. This is a teaching tool. You're all part of it. This is a living classroom. welcome to, as Betty Ray said and as Irene Weber said, much more eloquently than I could ever say, welcome to what can and will be one of the best weeks of your life. I'm going to turn it over to Kate and Tristan, and they're going to walk you through what happens next. Give yourselves a big hand for showing up, and this is going to be an awesome week. Thanks, ladies.